Hussam, if possible, you can introduce yourself for a minute, please.
First of all, I think it's still morning, so good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming and joining us in this very important session. My name is Captain Hussam Souyar. I'm the Business Excellence Manager at ADNOC Logistics and Services. Basically, my background goes for almost 30 years of marine business, starting with the, lines of shipping lines, and then after that, I changed my career to be a captain or a master on board the OSVs. Specifically, it was for the dynamic positioning vessels, 13 years. Then later on, I joined ADNOC and the marine field, obviously. And later, I was, taking part of the logistics activities in terms of driving the strategy for innovation, technology, getting the most of advanced tools and technology to monitor the compliance for the marine activities, as well as the overall supply and logistics chain.
Sure. Thank you. Captain Varun, again.
So welcome again, those who have not been over here in the morning, including Captain Hassan. So Varun from Abu Dhabi Maritime Academy. I'm the director for the Nautical Academics and Simulations. So we do trainings for officers all the way to masters, cadets to masters, and engineers to chief engineers eventually, and also do all of feasibility studies in terms of port optimizations, looking from the point of view of design feasibilities for ports using our simulations. Been in the sea for 34 years, maritime industry, 25 years sailing, 8 years as a captain, and been teaching for the last 16 years at the moment right now. Been involved with IMO for quite some time, 12 years, mostly in education. All the model courses, generally in terms of competencies, are written by me. Thank you for having me over here.
Thank you. Dr. Khursheed.
Thank you very much, everyone. My name is Dr. Khursheed. I'm the general manager for one of the leading holding company called Masaood LLC, where everybody knows that Masaood is one of the pioneer, holding company in UAE, and we are operating regionally. Primarily, my task since last 20 years, I'm in this market, and I'm primarily working for the all operating company like ADNOC and Aramco and other, oil and gas company. And my role in Masaood to at least in oil and gas segment of mid and downstream. And we are doing as of now, we can say that Masaood is really catering all related to the ADNOC challenges. As of now, we are working so many EPCs activities in the same time. Also, we are providing the brownfield management activities, and we have partnership with the world-class companies like Volkswagen Group, Manturbo, Rolls-Royce, and Volvo Penta. We are partnership with the KSB, Chart. So these are top leader working with us, and we are providing the innovative solution to locally and regionally. And thank you very much to everyone to at least, welcoming us. And hopefully we are going to have the very interesting, panel session. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Starting with Captain Hussam. So I love this one, which is what role do audits and inspections play in ensuring compliance in the Middle East, and how can operators better prepare for them?
Well, first of all, it's a very interesting question, but why do we need to limit it to the Middle East while we can speak on behalf of the whole world when it comes to the matter of compliance? Yes, Middle East is playing a very significant part on the oil and gas and offshore industry in specific. But also the compliance assurance is a mandate that needs to be looked at in the international level, especially when we talk about the marine industry. Now, what roles the operator can play, it is a wide role, to be honest. And there are so many things that operators can do to ensure the specific compliance and regulatory platforms are kept. One of the major things that we always considered as ADNOC Logistics and Services are three main segments. The first one is the human element. And we have to be honest that it has been discussed yesterday, I believe, in a lot of discussions and panels. However, we have to emphasize on the fact that human elements will always play the most significant part on the way that compliance assurance is kept. The second thing, of course, is to ensure that the regulatory bodies within the Middle East have full knowledge and interaction with the operators themselves. There has to be that kind of link, an open link. Without that kind of open link and discussions being available, there will always be a gap in between the compliance authorities and regulatory bodies as well as the operators themselves. And such events, such as the OSV event, plays a significant role on how they bring both together. But the third segment, which is also important, is to apply the latest technologies in terms of regulatory compliance assurance. Today, we face a huge challenge in the way that compliance assurance team and auditors perform their compliance assurance methods. And I still believe that technology can play a huge part in making sure that the compliance time or the time of the audits and the compliance assurance schedules are being maintained, as well as looking at the points where we can clearly identify the gaps and put action plans towards them. And this can always be done through the proper monitoring and data collective tools, which can be applied through technology.
Okay, Captain Hussam, frankly speaking, I was discussing even in the morning with some other colleagues. I'm coming from a different industry. I'm coming from the oil and chemical tankers industry. And in that area, everything falls under one umbrella, which is the OCMF.
Correct.
Where for the vessels, they have to go for a site inspection. And for the company, it has to go through a TMSA, Tanker Management Self-Assessment.
Yes.
For the offshore, I just recently joined JOPETWIL Marine. As a QHSE guy, the main challenge, like let's speak specifically about Abu Dhabi and companies working with ADNOC LNS and ADNOC Offshore. Now, for vessels to comply with, first, in order to get approved by ADNOC LNS, it has to go through 3 different audits.
Correct.
One is the welfare inspection, one is the QIQC inspection, one is the HSES inspection.
Correct.
Okay? Once you pass these, you have to go to the next level. ADNOC Offshore, you have to go through the ASMV, ADNOC standard for marine vessels, in order to, for the vessel to get the field entry permit, in order to be able to be operating in the oil fields. Mm-hmm. Again, some certain areas are not controlled by ADNOC Offshore or ADNOC LNS. It's under the control of the petroleum port authorities, which again, you have to go through another kind of inspection, which is a vetting inspection. Don't you think this is very challenging for a private company, vessel owners? For example, I went through the ASMV. In the norm, usually every 5 vessels, you have to have 1 port captain, 1 port engineer, 1 HSE officers. But with all these requirements, and is it possible? Even it's very stressful for the vessel owners onshore side, and I believe it will be reflecting some sort of fatigue on the crew side. Correct. So how they can face that challenge?
Well, very interesting. I believe that this has been discussed yesterday in one of the panel discussions, and Mr. Francesco actually highlighted this in yesterday's session by trying to find a unified solution, whereas compliance assurance in terms of regulatory bodies can come across or can agree on one certain, let's say, standards to cope with at least the Middle East area or let's say, the oil and gas industry within the Middle East area, and specific to the OSVs, of course. Now, you are absolutely right. There are so many stakeholders involved in the criteria of compliance when it comes to the matter of OSVs. And there are so many reasons behind that. It's not a rocket science. I believe everybody understands over here the complexity of operations. First of all, we do have around 3,000 square miles of area to cover within the offshore sector for Abu Dhabi. All those locations and sites are controlled by different stakeholders, different authorities, and for them, they adopt to different standards sometimes. So to get them all together under one umbrella, to specify that those standards might apply over here and they do not apply on the other area, that is going to be extremely difficult. Not to mention, of course, the importance of having, what we call it in the marine terminology, we call it the compliance assurance scheme that applies for each and every case for the type of the marine unit. And you can see over here that we have a lot of marine unit types and categories, starting from the dynamic positioning vessels up to the ferry passengers when it comes to the matter of personal transportation, utility boats, subsea operation support vessels, topside maintenance, and so on and so forth. So for each category, there is a different aspect and different rules and compliance assurance. And this definitely, as you rightly mentioned, Mr. Assad, the idea is that it will apply a lot of load to the operators as well as the crew members, but also we have to understand that also it applies a load on us. But when it comes to the matter of PPA, for instance, they do have their own sector where they are the custodian of this regulatory. They are the regulatory body. And there is, the matter of overlapping of authority cannot happen. We have to understand that ADNOC Offshore, they are the custodian of their own HSC rules. They have the ownership of their reports. So obviously, if there is any impact or negative impact, they will be the one who will be recorded against. It's not going to be upon the vessel owners or operators. So this is why they have created a very magnificent tools at the time when I was at the upstream industry with ADNOC Offshore, and I believe my colleagues who are doing a great job so far, they have managed to create that standards, compliance assurance scheme, and they are updating it to the latest industry standards. So it's not just only, it's a dynamic type of documents that holds the compliance assurance scheme. But what I needed to emphasize about, and this is very important, is that we would love to see something like this happening, definitely. We would encourage everybody to come together and try to find out a solution. In fact, ADNOC Logistics and Services and ADNOC Offshore, we are in continuous dialogue about this, trying to achieve the best standards that can be applicable for both ends. And it's not necessary, as you rightly mentioned, to do different or 3 or 4 times the same compliance assurance, which will be tiring for the owners as well as the crew members. We are almost there. We cannot promise you anything in the near future, but we are currently having, a very streamlined discussions with our colleagues at ADNOC Offshore, and hopefully this will take us to the path where the compliance, at least in the jurisdiction of ADNOC, will be under one custodianship.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Captain Varun, looking ahead, how can collaboration between Middle Eastern regulators, international bodies, and OSV operators shape a more harmonized compliance landscape?
So I think so. Again, I'll come back from what Captain Hussam just recently said. That I mean, there is definitely a gap. We can realize that from yesterday's talk. Francesco was very vocal about that. And he was Alex definitely did say that. Bab had its own opinion from that point of view. That there is definitely a gap which has to be addressed in terms of compliance. I'm not very sure if people know about a consortium which is called as Blue WISB. So there's a Blue WISB, which is again a consortium which has got 30 different members, and they're looking from the same point of view, industria, stakeholders consortium. And it's only when dialogue starts coming in play, the regulations will sort of shape up. The OSV industry operators especially has to have a place at the table. Unless and until the operators say what the problems they are facing, I don't think the regulation is going to shape up accordingly. In terms of data compliances, I mean, AI is coming into force a lot of time. I mean, there are a lot of different softwares. I mean, ABS has come with My Digital Fleet, which is again gives you all the compliance standards requirement. DNV has got their own emissions and performance monitoring system, which is again trying to comply with the requirements of MARPOL Annex 6 and also with the European Union's MRV. And so there are a lot of softwares which is actually provided on board the vessels which can tell whether the vessel is complying with a certain standards or not. I know there are softwares which is also gives you a geofencing requirement that if you are not complying with certain requirements, not only for Annex 6, but Annex 5, Annex 4, Annex 1 and 2, it will give you alerts on the bridge as well as ashore people, and they can all be logged. So it's not something which is going to be hidden by the other stakeholders or the administrations. It is all transparent, and it is all managed by a very, I wouldn't say very complex manner, but there are all nicely framed manner which they can be actually checked for the audit reports. So again, in terms of, there's a company called Sea Machines, SM300. I'm not really sure whether people know about that, but they are quite famous in having autonomous package, which can be actually imported on any boats and placed over there, and you can monitor and you can operate the boat completely autonomous way. So we spoke about autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs. But these are onshore surface vessels, and it's quite useful for taking the package from one place to another, rather than drones. If you have very large packages, you don't want to have a ship over there, and you can buy that pack, apply that pack on board the vessels and become autonomous, and you're managing it from ashore. You don't require intervention, but they can do that. And while they're doing that, they're also logging out their compliance. So are they monitoring properly? Are they following call regs? Are they following annex requirement, MARPOL requirement? Everything is logged. And the standards of, for example, the classifying societies can always integrate their informations with the operators directly. So there is a big transparency which is happening now as compared to earlier, where people could log the files, do something else and show something else, which in nowadays it's very, very difficult to do that. Right. We had a session yesterday by two of our very good colleagues over here, Captain Abhay, we showed that Greenfield Marine Technologies, and he's saying how they're implementing different dashboards, which is going to be useful for the onboard vessels. But also we spoke about other colleagues like Marorka, Ascenz Marorka, which they spoke about the fuel monitoring system, the MAS, and how they can monitor the compliance on board the vessel. So even if the chief engineer, for example, let's say, arbitrary sake, the chief engineer says that ROB of my heavy oil or fuel oil is this much, by using the sensors, they can actually know what fuel they are. So they're not completely relying on the ship staff. Human element is again involved over there, because we are all humans. They are bound to make mistakes, but we are also bound to lie. I mean, there is a possibility that we may fudge records. With these kind of compliance standards, which due to softwares and integrating data, that is going to be very difficult to do that.
Thank you. Again, Captain Hussam, how can digital technologies such as real-time data analytics and automated compliance tools help OSV operators maintain constant regulatory adherence?
Well, I think that Captain Varun has explained some of the elements that can be used in real-time data capturing tools. But nowadays, there are so many, I would say, initiatives that are currently being studied by the classification societies. It's not just only the sensors and the monitoring tools that are applied on board vessels to upkeep the limitations of the IBS, or the Integrated Bridge Management System, where all the information and data are kept into the vessel information system, and then after that it's pushed towards the company servers to monitor the performance of those marine units. But now there is a new era of digital twin and artificial intelligence, which is coming on, on the next few years. In fact, there are some regulatory bodies and classification societies who are currently studying this initiative, such as BV, for instance. We have been in discussion with BV, DNV, and Lloyd's Register, and some other, even Tasnif, I guess, that they also have that kind of mechanism to try to evaluate or re-evaluate the digital twin concepts. And when we say about the digital twin, it can definitely enhance the way that we deal with our compliance assurance, and specific to the marine category when it comes to the matter of technical requirements. Today, manufacturers, they demand, let's say, an engine to be overhauled every specific times and hours, for instance. And this will apply also because of that manufacturing recommendation. It will apply to the operators, and then after that, it will be monitored by the clients. Applying the digital twin will give us an advantage over here, because obviously the digital twin can give us one step of assurance towards the compliance within a certain time frame. You don't have to comply with the time rule anymore. You will monitor the performance of the engine and the quality of the engine itself, all right, without having to go dig deep or overhaul the engine for no use, which will be a time loss for the operators and for the clients, as well as the crew themselves. So now, stepping into that era of artificial intelligence and digital twin will definitely enhance the way that we can perform the compliance assurance regulatory. And the regulatory bodies will definitely have to look into that part by making sure that they accept the digital twin compliance scheme as a part of their compliance assurance scheme and audits, because this is going to be the future. And I believe that everybody is working hand in hand nowadays, inclusive of the manufacturers of the marine units, as well as the designers of the concept, as well as the regulatory bodies. And once this is settled and it's well known, I believe that the clients and the oil and gas majors who are currently operating the OSVs will have to come and accept this as a permanent fact to stay. And this will definitely also enhance the way that our crew is forced to do some unrealistic workload every now and then to comply with the rules and regulations moving forward.
Thank you, Captain. Dr. Khursheed, what are the key regional maritime and environmental regulations impacting OSV operations in the Middle East, and how do they compare to global standards?
Question. In fact, this is a very interesting question. First of all, as of now, you mentioned that if you talk about the international regulatory and regional, I think regional is far, far ahead in compared to international. If you talk about the ADNOC especially, as Captain Hassam has mentioned, that ADNOC have the additional layer, not only in the terms of the HSE, in the terms of the environmental also, because as of now, the UAE and I can say the regional like UAE and Aramco, preliminary, the two operating companies, they have initiative to make the net zero preliminary for the UAE in 2050. And for that, there, as of now, like the HSC code is, I think, different than international policy. I think you have to be after the international, if you compare to international, regulatory and the local, ADNOC one is, I think you need to have to qualify yourself. So all operators need to be, first, if they are approved for the internal, regulatory, they need to also have follow the ADNOC, because ADNOC have, first of all, the in-country value that need to be followed. In the same time, their HSC code is completely different that need to be aligned. And along with this also, they have the zero spill, wastage that need to be complied. There is a zero tolerance for that. For that, there should be the many arrangement need to be done. As of now, we have to proper, waste management, policies and how to store the waste and how you're going to dispose the waste, that need to be, managed and need to be comply with the, local authorities like preliminary for the Aramco and ADNOC, because they are like Aramco as of now. They are having any spill water, immediate, real-time all-letting report need to be done for them. So for that, we need to maintain that record. Having said, I can say that as of now, except the Aramco and ADNOC, if you talk about the Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, they are preliminary is almost same, as per the international policies. But for the ADNOC, in-country value, we need to comply with the local compliance, and we need to be. But having said, I can say that in one word, local authorities are really having a very strong, policy to maintain the environmental, I can say that's a crisis, and for that, we need to comply, and for that, there's a lot of arrangement need to done. First of all operators need to follow the complete HSE policy, including need to have proper waste management, process within the, vessel. Along with this also, they have to collaborate with the, disposal companies, how to dispose these wastes. In the same time also, they need to do the scaling. What happened as of now, we don't have proper scaling, what type of, wastage they are, having, and how they are going to scaling, how much, because every vessel have their scale, and based on that, local authorities is also giving the, approval. So that scaling need to be done also.
Thank you, Doctor. Captain Baroon, how can fleet-wide compliance systems improve transparency, reporting accuracy, and reduce operational risks for offshore service providers?
Okay, so again, it feeds in the same kind of thing that we have been speaking from yesterday onwards. There are a lot of software which is coming up into play where they're talking about predictive data and analytics. They're trying to improve the engine performances, route optimizations, the fuel efficiencies, and stuff like that. And there are many softwares, again, as we spoke about yesterday's, FuelNet, Fuel Tracks, they have been doing that. Our Ascenz Marorka has been doing that from the point of view. I think so what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring in all the information from the vessels, not only from one vessel, but also for the entire fleet altogether, and then compare them together and find out exactly where the problem lies. If everything is good, it's perfectly fine, but they're also creating an AI-based analytics, looking at what exactly has gone wrong, and then learn from that, and then give more information. Now, in terms of collaborations, there are all different multi-communication channels which is required. In terms of when you spoke about IoT sensors, trying to combine AI-based softwares, and all the information is actually going to something which is called as data lakes, and all raw data. And then from raw data, it can be filtered out, and then it can go to as a data harbor. So again, in terms of IT, it is not like all data is important. It could be junk altogether. But at the moment, right now, we do not know what is junk and what is not. So what that people are doing is, I think so Bob was telling, we need to have more sensors on board. We need to have more data, which we require, because at the moment, presently, we do not know what to do with data, for sure. And I understand that, because same data could be used for so many different reasons, which nobody could think about that. So what exactly happens is that all the data goes in the data lakes. It is raw, it is not filtered, it is not managed, it is not processed. And from there, whatever you require eventually is been taken and made into data harbors, and then just used as data sets. So what has happened now with not only in OSV industries, with all maritime industries, that you have classifying societies which can actually tap into your datas. Completely transparency from the point of view. So I think so there's BV's, Veristas, they do that, LR does that, and it is already feeding into your data, which is provided directly from onboard vessels, and the classification societies has got the access to the data, which has again become very transparent. So that is one was the usage, I would say, of having AI enabled and information and data. So I think so Abhay said yesterday that, we have so many data, but we do not know exactly what to do. So you need to have a domain expert and need to have data scientists to enable us to understand what we can derive from this data and get that thing.
Thank you. Captain Hussam, anything to add on that regard as well from your side?
Well, considering the fact that I spent the last 30 years working at the marine industry and the domain itself, I have come across the evolution of technology. And I would say that at the first time when I joined vessels, and I believe that some of my colleagues over here can remember, that we were not even allowed to start the radar unless if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. Now, with that been, the situation and the evolution of technology that has taken place from the time that we were reliant on sextant and we were reliant on, very old tools to provide data, today we have a significant amount of tools that can apply also digital awareness where we can benefit as mariners as well as companies in it. But if I want to add one thing over here, and I want to receive the feedback also from our audience, we have a very selected subject matter experts and people who are currently attending this OSV conference. So I'm going to ask a question to our audience, and whoever believes that digitalization and artificial intelligence is actually going to benefit furthermore, is it going to benefit the way that we act, and does it have the complexity and the, moving forward, does it have the enough complexity and the tools to apply certain methods of, I would say, the technology advancement? Will it improve the way that we are going to do our operations moving forward? If the answer is yes, I would like to see some hands raised. Anybody who believes technology is going to help us? Anybody who opposes, you think that technology is, there are some people. See, that's what I'm talking about, is that some people are still thinking, and I do totally respect their point of view because maybe they have their mindset developed in such a way that they believe that technology might actually influence the quality of operations. Nothing can compare to human beings. I agree with you. No one. That's currently applied. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. See, this is why I wanted to hear basically from our audience. What is the reason behind the non-belief? And I think that the non-belief comes from a fact that the matureness of technology that is currently being applied still cannot meet the demand that probably operators and compliance assurance people are looking forward to see in the industry. And I think that our colleagues over here have realized that it's a fact. You have certain demands. Can you see one technology that can offer all those demands for you and can cover all your requirements at one single step? Usually when technology providers and software developers or even hardware providers, once they come to you, tell you, what do you want so that I can design something for you? There's no one-stop shop, correct? And this is one of the major things that currently is facing, or we are facing as industry leaders. But since then, there is still an evolution of technology, and artificial intelligence will definitely bridge those gaps. And I'm thinking that from the way that it has been started from the beginning until today, there has been major leaps on the way that technology can perform and machine learning can actually add to it. But in terms of compliance, I still believe that we have to work all together, hand in hand, all subject matter experts, from the engineering to the designer. Even today, in today's world, now we're relying on what we call them the data scientists, yes. All right? They are the ones who will be able to also achieve more results by giving us the chance to understand us more and to develop the mature technology that is going to give us the optimal results. And I thank you so much for raising your hand, because I was thinking that everybody will say, no, technology is going to be, yes, technology will be an enabler, but the mature technology that will provide something useful for us, definitely that will be our target moving forward.
Thank you. Sorry, Captain, like it's out of maybe the context. Now, before I was engaged in 2 dry docks in my previous company, where we retrofitted a ballast water management system plan.
Yes.
Ballast water management treatment plan. For bigger vessels like containers,
tankers, and so on.
yeah, it is compulsory to have, like as per MARPOL regulations, which is we are all falls under those like regulations. How to convince a vessel owner from the private sector, to fit something that can protect the environment, but it is not compulsory for him, because as per regulations, for the OSVs, most of them are not engaged in international voyages, so
correct,
can
yes.
they easily get the exemptions from the flag? What would be the return for a private business vessel owner to be engaged in this?
Yes, I think that Dr. Khursheed has actually touched base in some of the elements that we consider as non-compulsory, but at the same time it adds value. Let me put it this way. We live in a world that everybody benefits from the environment protection, and we are not going to act alone. We are not just acting for ourselves, we are acting for the generation beyond. In today's world, the feeling of responsibility towards the environment is a feeling of responsibility towards ourselves. The idea of creating some, or complying with some rules, it is not just only because of the cost element that vessel owners are looking at, but there is, a sense of responsibility towards what we call it, the environment and the global environment in general. And we all share that. We are all humans. We understand what will be the impact. If it's not going to be today, it will definitely be for tomorrow. And everybody cares for the next generation. We are building a world not just only for ourselves, but also for the generations to come. So yes, it is a sense of responsibility. That's what we all rely on. The sense of doing the right thing. If you don't do the right thing now, maybe it will not impact you, but it definitely will impact our children and our grandchildren and the generations to come. So we all share that. And believe it or not, the world that we are living today is actually the behavior of generations that started thousands of years ago to try to build that kind of path towards what we are currently enjoying, at least. So if everybody looks at the way that they are doing things right now, it is because of the previous generations' input and validation that they have created for us. So we have to be thankful to them, and hopefully one day the next generation will be thankful to us. So it's about time to start thinking about that, feeling responsible. And also on top of that, today even governments and authorities are putting forward some sort of taxation, I would say, to evaluate your compliance towards that particular aspect. So yes, that will also push them to think twice before they take the unresponsible methods and apply the responsible methods moving forward. 2030 is the target for ADNOC, 2040 possibly for others. But I think that United Arab Emirates is always leading on that aspect, and hopefully it will drive the leaders of the world also, because in the last COP, I guess that there was a lot of discussions happening because of that. And obviously this is something that everybody is focused upon right now.
I believe there's a terminology which is called carrot and stick. So
yes.
I know, hypothetically speaking, it's a shared responsibility that we as humans, we owe to the entire world, that, we leave the world in a better place that we came in. which doesn't seem to be, if you're honestly speaking from that point of view. But from the point of view of business, pure business, a person has come into business to make profit. That is the bottom line, eventually. Yes, he does share a responsibility towards that, but he makes a profit by not harming the environment. And that is not going to come unless there is an incentive. Either there is an incentive or there is a regulation. So unless and until he gets something out of that, the person, I don't think that any businessman or women, they were going to be ready for that. So either, as Captain Hussam was saying rightly, the governments are now incentivizing it. If you are complying with certain requirements, which is not yet a regulations, then you would get some benefit in matter of taxation, in matter of other aspects. If not, then all what the government will do, they'll make up regulations, which everybody has to abide by. The same thing that you were having a pain points of having ADNOC complying with so many different requirements. That is the way ADNOC is trying to do, because they want to go more ahead than the other world to make sure that they are complying with the requirements of environment and sustainability and safety and all the aspects. They have made the rules more tighter. So if you want to make business, I do agree. If you want to make business, you have to comply with these requirements. Otherwise, I'm sorry, thank you very much, but I can't do anything about that. I think this is the only way anyone would work, not only for ballast water management systems, but also for any retrofits. EU's carbon credits, if you have heard about that, is exactly work in the same fashion. If you have one vessel among your fleet of vessels as a green ship, which they call, then you would get the carbon credits. So you might get away by not paying any taxes or in taxations on other fleet, because your model goes into zero. So that is the way the incentives actually work across. So that is the way the humans think. We want something in return.
Specifically mariners.
Here I would say, yes, 100% agree. But this, usually the business owners are coming from a finance background, where we are like mariners and we are engaged in things related to the environment, so we understand. But for them, as Captain Varun said, you need to show them some,
today, in today's world, in order to incentivize the management of control, for instance, for the carbon capture, that if, this is how governments are doing this right now. You can sell your part of carbon capturing tax to others. So this is what's happening right now. The companies who are actually complying to a certain limit, they can save out of which and sell it to others. So that is exactly how the bean counters, and I think that the financial team and the CFOs think about it. If I save more, I will be able to sell it, and later on I can make money out of it. So this could be the push that they needed to move on that regard. This also applies not just only for the carbon capture, but all the environmental impact methods that they are, or we are facing as mariners.
I would feed in one more small thing. I know, I'm probably going on and on forever, but this is exactly the thing which you're talking about, the trainings. But not only for trainings, for example, if IMO has to put a tool like AIS or ballast water management systems on board the vessels mandatory, even they have to make a formal safety assessment, which is called an FSA, to prove the feasibility of having this instrument on board is going to cost you eventually in the future. So because any owner, IMO has got no teeth unless and until the owners agree to that. So if IMO cannot make people be against them, they have to work for them. So if I made a requirement, for ballast water management conventions, you need to have a ballast water management system on board. So I need to do a feasibility study assessment to show you that this is going to be beneficial, not only from the government point of view, from the environment point of view, but for your benefit point of view, your profit point of view. And that is exactly the same thing which is going to happen for in anything.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
In this regard, I need to highlight more things, especially Mr. Assad. Morning, you say that there's a 3 layer of the approval needed for the HSE. So especially for the all HSE and QE engineer manager, they need to propose to operator. Don't think about the commercial aspect, because if that data you're going to present during your approval, ADNOC is going to appreciate, you're going to get the credit on this one. And in the same time, there is the one thing ADNOC is doing in country value. These type of initiative they are taking. So if really you want to enhance your in-country value, you're going to show that these initiative that, this is not mandatory, but we are going to take. And along with this, there is one initiative, I can see the, preliminary, we start as Masaood. What we are doing the awareness training. And for that, we started from the CO levels and GMs level. We are having a session for sustainable, education with New York University. And we are understanding what impact is going for the, if you're going to take small initiative within our organization. So these we are implementing due to, showcase government. We are with the country, we are with the, initiative, and that, operator also can do. And that you guys, as a, HSC and QSC leader, you can play the major role.
Sure. Thank you, Doctor. Our last question for this panel is for Dr. Khursheed as well. So what strategies can OSV operators adopt to manage and document waste disposal in a way that meets both regional and international environmental standards?
That's a very, very good question. First of all, one strategy need to be followed is scaling. First, we need to scale what we're doing and how much we're doing. Every operator need to understand. Second thing is this, the training. What happened as of now, whatsoever process we are doing due to the mandatory requirement, we are not understanding what's the reason we are doing. Segregation of the waste, how we're going to segregate, along with the how we're going to dispose. These of the training need to be very frequently done. And in the same time also, we need to also make them train a crew member, not from the from the blue collar to the white collar, everybody. What is the impact we're going to do? Mm-hmm. That is a very much important to at least have. And along with this also in this what happened as of now, most of the companies they need to be opt the advanced technology, like they have the enough wastewater management system within the craft to at least manage this one, because normally what happened, the they don't have resources, like if any and they don't have the proper training, they don't have bookkeeping, how to, because like if you're going to get the approval for anything, if they don't have proper record, book log, it's going to hard for you to get the approval.
True.
So these type of initiatives need to be followed, and with the help of that local international board going to be compile, and we are going to have the follow the process, and we are going to at least use this process.
Okay, I have something, since you mentioned record keeping, like vessels goes all under different flags. Some under like flag of convenience, yes. Some other like flag.
Whitelisted flags.
Exactly.
Okay.
A flag of convenience, similar to Liberia, and some like go for national flags, UAE, where you have to comply with the specific requirement, exactly. Which is the national requirement. Some goes for the age of the vessel.
Right.
Some goes with the nationality of the crew to promote their seafarer like joint,
local
similar
content.
to Philippines.
Right.
Some goes for the industrial like to promote their industry like France, if you want. Yeah. What I want to say here is like for the records related to the environment, or record books, sewage record book, garbage record book. Some are adopting like the e-books where you can like maintain your records, while others still insisting on that paper record books.
No,
also, this is like
that's the reason here. AI is going to play the very vital role. What happened since last 1 month? I have come across a couple of guests from the European, American, and Asian market. They're coming with a very innovative bookkeeping for these type of things. They're coming with the if you have any asset, they are going to keep the record and give you the real picture. In the terms of the for example, you have the limit for the the emission for that much. They're going to give you a crossing 50% you have. So that could be I can say in a futuristic, we need to opt. Because yes, I know that every, local authorities, international authorities, they are following different way to do it. And that's really, hard for HSC guys and approval authorities. So how we are going to prove ourselves that we are keeping properly. So here, first of all, training, opting the innovative solutions, and also make our crew understand what's the reason why we are doing and what need to do. Because even the segregation of the innovators, there is a proper training need to be done how we are going to do and how we are going to recycle.
Exactly.
Because as of now, what we are segregating is recycling. In the same time, if we are going to dispose the that wastage, we have the proper vendor who is really going to properly dispose. So having said yes, as of now, we are not in a one platform where people are universally, following the one bookkeeping. There's a different, but future is later, I think ADNOC is already showing the very good example because they are following a lot of innovative, as of now, initiative, and most likely international, platform is going to opt same thing because we are giving the, example that what, old, way we are doing is not proper way to at least mean the proper record. And need to at least understand. So that need to be opt. But as of now, yes, is not aligned. I completely agree.
I don't think it can be aligned also, if you really ask me. Again, come back to, you would always complete the flag state or anyone that you are telling me first to comply with this thing, and you're telling me how to comply with this thing. So again, when you tell me how to comply, if you tell me digital, then that means I have to get a third party to create this digital platform for me. I have to pay more money for that. So there's always a thing. If a flag of convenience wants to be less costly, he has to be more liberal in terms of authority. You see? So you are going to come to me and register under my flag. It's only if I'm going to give you more cheaper. Otherwise, you go to UK, Australia, or anywhere else. And if I start making you much more complex, which is not defined by IMO, from my flag state point of view, then you won't come to me. You will go probably to Panama or to somewhere else. So from the business perspective, if you're talking about flag state or FOCs, they have to be liberal in terms of thing, which is not very clear at the moment. Again, all depends upon the conscious, from the ship owner's point of view or the operators. They can go as high, as transparent as they want to, or they can just go basic with the basic requirement.
Sure. Gentlemen, thank you very much. It was very interesting. Is it possible to have a all-together picture?
Yes, of course. Yes.
For the end of this?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It was nice talking to you. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you.
Doctor.